Hello everyone, welcome to Scream. I'm Viola. In today's episode, we're going to talk about horror movies. If you know me, you will know that I don't regularly watch horrors, but actually the horrors we're going to talk about today, I've seen one, and the others, actually they look so interesting that even I want to watch them. So you can tell they're not ghost type of horror. So let's listen to the introduction of the first new movie we're going to talk about today. It might be one of the best movies this year so far. Longlegs. FBI agent Lee Harker is a gifted new recruit assigned to the unsolved case of an elusive serial killer. As the case takes complex turns, unearthing evidence of the occult, Harker discovers a personal connection to the merciless killer and must race against time to stop him before he claims the lives of another innocent family.
FBI agent. Yeah.
Take a nice long look.
The first new movie we're going to talk about today is Longlegs. It's a serial killer type of horror, and from the introduction we just heard, I guess maybe, but I'm super bad at guessing. Maybe Lee Harker, the FBI agent, encountered this serial killer before when she was little or something like that. Actually, what people look forward to in this movie is Nicolas Cage that doesn't look like him at all. You know, Nicolas Cage actually told the publisher to not promote this movie saying that he's in it. But you know, he's the protagonist, well, not protagonist, he's kind of an antagonist, and he's a award-winning actor. How could someone promote this movie and not mentioning his name? It's almost impossible. His pale makeup and breakthrough performances in the movie amazed many audience. The director said that when they were discussing the character, they would talk on the phone and try to discuss the character like word puzzles or scrapbooks, like piecing up the small details of the characters. And then Nicolas Cage would leave to put on makeup. And after he's fully dressed up, you wouldn't be able to tell as Nicolas Cage. His behaviors, his speaking tempos, even his voices would be totally different. The director said that he wouldn't be able to recognize him even at the shooting site. And when they had premieres and screenings, there were audiences who were scared to panic disorder, you know. The story of Longlegs is based on a true serial killer in the 90s in the US. So there are a lot of scenes with bloody scenes in this movie, and the director used unique visual languages to create the tension and the suppressive atmosphere. So there were audiences who started to cry and went into serious panic during the screening. Although Longlegs isn't a horror with ghosts, it's produced by the crew of Sinister and Insidious, so you can imagine it's definitely really scary. Now, the second new movie we're going to talk about today is actually a classic re-release. I've seen it when I was little, and when it's re-released again, I already watched it at a screening. So let's check out the introduction. The Birds. San Francisco-based socialite Melanie Daniels, whose father is a newspaper publisher and whose mother ran off when Melanie was 11, used to lead a fast and carefree life, although she is trying now to do useful and meaningful work with her time. The two holdovers from her old life are that fast and loose reputation, and playing practical jokes at whatever cost and whatever expense the outcome. It is on a prank, this time on her, that she officially meets criminal lawyer Mitch Brenner, The prank largely centered on the topic of birds. Wanting to repay him for the prank, Melanie drives to his weekend home off the coast outside the working-class community of Bodega Bay to surprise him. There, where he lives with his widowed mother and his 11-year-old sister, Lydia Brenner and Kathy Brenner. While Kathy likes Melanie, Lydia is distant toward her, much like she is toward any woman interested in Mitch, such as the local school teacher Annie Hayworth, who originally moved to Bodega Bay from San Francisco 4 years ago as Mitch's girlfriend at the time. The day of Melanie's arrival in Bodega Bay, a number of odd occurrences happen, all with respect to birds. One of those incidents being a sole seagull swooping down and giving her one good peck on the head. With Melanie still in town, the bird occurrences become more frequent, massive, and violent, they seemingly wanting to kill. Mitch notices that the attacks go in waves and are generally in the same pattern of the birds massing quietly, attacking all of a sudden then disappearing to mass again quietly somewhere else. Melanie and the Brenners have to decide how long to stay in Bodega Bay before it becomes too dangerous, by which time it may be too late.
What do you think they were after?
I think they were after the children.
Well, I would say the introduction basically tells everything about the plot. But the thing is, watching Hitchcock's The Birds is not about the plot. The plot is a simple story of, yes, maybe a love story to begin with, but you have to watch it because the visual is so amazing. And that's one of the reasons why The Birds is a classic. Actually, the publisher wanted to re-release this movie last year because it's the 60-year anniversary of The Birds. And I'm pretty sure it was re-released in the US last year, but there's something wrong with it in Taiwan, so the publisher couldn't re-release it last year. But here we are, we still get to watch it on the big screen once again. I don't know if it's once again because maybe 60 years ago, people wouldn't be able to watch it in the theater because it was still martial law and birds attacking human. I'm not sure if that would pass the rules. But anyway, something about this movie is that if Hitchcock, even if he's still alive, or somebody else wants to film The Birds right now, it wouldn't be as astonishing. Well, should I say astonishing? I think it's scary. It's a horror still. Because at the time, Hitchcock used all real birds. But if we shoot it now, I'm pretty sure Animal Protection would file a protest. I'm not saying that what Hitchcock did was great, but it's just a matter of time period. It's just not possible now. But 60 years ago, when they filmed The Birds, there would be crew, and they have animal trainers actually. They just didn't treat animals as well as we do right now. So the animal trainers or the crew would throw the birds to the actors and actresses, creating scenes that look like the birds are attacking humans. But still, even with the animal trainers and this explanation, when you watch it, you still can't imagine how Hitchcock and the animal trainers were able to control the birds because they were so tamed. I mean, they would stand side by side in order, and when they're on the ground, they wouldn't fly away when somebody passed them. So I think this itself is really amazing. So if you're not afraid of birds, I encourage you to watch The Birds. It's a horror, but it's not really scary after all. I dare to watch it, so I challenge you to watch it. Now, before we move on to Top 007 and talk about more horrors, let's review what we had from last week first. Top 3 was Detective Conan the movie, The $1 Million Pentagram. Top 2, Bad Boys 4, and Top 1, Inside Out 2. Let's check out Top 7 to Top 4. Top 6, Bad Boys 4.
Call 911. Aren't you the police?
Customs Frontline.
香港海關，我哋懷 KCS 航運涉嫌參與非法走私活動，呢張係法定嘅。
Top 5, Horizon, An American Saga Chapter 1.
These people think if you're tough enough. Smart.
Top 4, Detective Conan the Movie, The Million Dollar Pentagram. Alright, looks like there's no horror movie from top 7 to top 4, so let's just go through all of them. Bad Boys. It has been on the chart for I don't know how long, 2 months? Something like that. So even though this episode isn't critically acclaimed, it's still pretty popular. I would say if you are someone who watched Bad Boys growing up like me, you probably would like this movie. And next, Customs Frontline. This is a Hong Kong movie. I was going to the screening, but then I got a case of interpreting, so I couldn't go. I really like the leading actors a lot. They're like my, I wouldn't say childhood, but like teenage year crush. So I decided that, okay, I'm going to watch it myself when it's released, but I didn't go because the comments weren't that good. Top 5, Horizon, An American Saga Chapter 1. This movie is not going to be released in Taiwan. I guess it's because American history related topic isn't so popular in Taiwan, of course. So if you're interested in it, I'm afraid you have to wait until maybe when it's on the streaming service or when it's on TV. I don't know when it will be. But apparently it's pretty popular among Americans in the US this weekend. Last but not least, Detective Conan the Movie, The Million Dollar Pentagram. Okay, I didn't go watch it, but I went to the Conan exhibition in Taiwan this week. I have to say it's really good. I really hate that a lot of the exhibitions nowadays only put up models for you to take pictures with, but this Conan exhibition is not. It gives you details about the comics in the past 30 years. After going to the exhibition, I really want to go back to all the episodes and rewatch them. Not to mention that most of them I probably haven't watched because when I was little, it was on TV. Then you watch it maybe today, tomorrow, and then, oh, the next day you have a family dinner, then you miss the episode, things like that. But I really want to go back to watch every episode of Conan right now. So if you like Conan just like me, I will guarantee you will have a good time when you go watch Detective Conan the Movie, The Million Dollar Pentagram. But now it's time for us to move on to top 3 to top 1 and talk about the last horror we're going to talk about today. Top 3, A Quiet Place, Day 1.
I have a plan.
Top 2, Despicable Me 4.
There's my boys! I know you love your dada. Go on, say it.
Top 1,
It should be nothing
Inside
but
Out
smooth
2.
sailing from
Hello? I'm anxiety. Where can I put my stuff?
A new emotion.
Oh, I'm sorry. We wanted to make such a...
Okay, we have 2 animations from top 3 to top 1, but you know, we're going to talk about horrors in this episode, right? So although I really want to talk about Despicable Me 4, I'm going to save it for the next week. I'm pretty sure it will stay on the chart, so don't worry. This is the 3rd episode of A Quiet Place series. What's so special about it is that in this episode, it will be strangers helping each other. In the previous 2 episodes, they're family members. Well, I haven't seen the second one, so I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure the first one, they're family, right? They're a family. So in this one, the characters are strangers to each other. The screenwriter and the producer, John Krasinski, which is also the director of the previous 2 episodes, want to do something new in this series and universe that he created. But at the same time, he wants to create some wider realms in the horror thriller type of movies. So he developed a new style and new tone. For example, the environment of this episode is very different from the previous 2. Before, that was very personal, very intimate, and it happened in countryside. But this time, it happens in New York. It's cosmopolitan, and there are more buildings. The scales are bigger and wider. But don't worry, the movie is still both thrilling and emotional. Basically, it's the same as the previous 2. It's still that kind of end of the world movie with a lot of tension and horror elements. But at the same time, there will be more action scenes between humans and aliens. John Krasinski, the director of the previous 2 episodes, thinks that he already combined character building, nervous atmosphere, and significant scenes. At the same time, he was able to pull up thrilling elements and emotional layers. So that's the reason why when he didn't want to direct the 3rd episode himself, they got Michael Sarnowski. He's good at combining emotions and thrilling. His controlling ability is super good. It's mild, but at the same time, it's very powerful. Although this episode isn't as critically acclaimed as the previous 2, it's still worth watching, I would say, and you will know the origin of the monsters. And that's all the time we have today. Sorry for the delay because my mom came to visit over the weekend, but I will try to upload the new episode on time this week. See you next time. I'm Viola. Bye bye.